What's up, dude?
Are we live?
We are live right now.
All right, it's happening, man.
Dude, thanks for coming to the show. I appreciate you.
I'm glad to be here, man. I love the new studio. It's actually really cool.
Thank you. Yes, we were just talking about the old studio. It was, it might have been haunted.
It was nice inside. Oh, listen, when I went in there, I was really impressed when I got in there.
Yes.
Getting in there, I mean, I felt like, I was, like I said, I had to go back in an alley.
Yes.
And I didn't know, and it was one of those you get a knock on the door a couple times and somebody might not answer.
Right.
And you're like, who is this dude banging on the door?
Yeah.
And I brought a championship belt last time.
I remember that.
So I'm sitting there with this championship belt in the middle of the some back alley somewhere. I can just see somebody coming. Who's this guy think he is?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be scrapping out there.
Right. It's like right next to downtown. I mean, it's like inner city. I think my friend who runs it, what he wanted to do was like, maybe he only had a certain budget, but he wanted a great studio, but also location-wise, he just bought a really rundown place and then put all the money on the inside.
And you know what? That's obvious because it was a great place inside. I'm glad I'm here. Inside, outside, this spot is perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to make this as comfortable as possible, and eventually, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't even get any snacks or bottles of water.
That's all right. That's all right.
I feel terrible. My girlfriend gets so mad at me when I do that. She's like, "Why don't you treat your guests like they're human beings?" And I'm like,
I feel uncomfortable. People never treat me that way. I don't treat myself like a human being. Why would you start?
Yeah. You're gonna be like, dude, what's your problem?
This guy trying to bang
crush
me
on me, right? Maybe.
What exactly are we filming here?
Yeah.
Because I want to get paid.
It's gonna be late night freak show. That's what it's gonna be.
I know you got one of those pages. Is this OnlyFans too?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I do this other thing that's kind of like OnlyFans. It's called Patreon. Make sure you go to patreon.com/JohnnyWoodsComedy. Subscribe. It's only $3 a month. You get a free podcast. So go check that out.
That's all right.
Yeah, man. So I quit vaping recently.
Really?
It's been about 2 weeks. I went cold turkey just off the nicotine, and
you feel it?
I'm feeling better now, but dude, those first couple weeks, I started a new job and I also quit smoking at the same time because it was supposed to be a non-smoking facility.
Okay.
And then after I started, I realized that everyone else there vapes, but I was already out of the woods,
The first 10 days are the hardest, bro.
It was, dude, I was like having cold sweats. I was having a hard time sleeping.
It's uncomfortable too. Just uncomfortable.
Just way uncomfortable, but I felt healthier, dude. It was starting to fuck with my breathing ability and I was getting chest palpitation, heart palpitations every now and then. And I was like, dude, this is the only thing I've really put into my body besides THC and caffeine.
Right.
Was those fucking vape pens, dude. And I think they might have been killing me a little bit. So.
Well, the thing about vape, and again, don't get me wrong, I smoked cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for a long time. And the thing was hardest for me was I had certain times because you're smoking a cigarette. It's not as like a vape. The problem is you can take it anywhere, right? Because it's just
all day,
anywhere. So when I smoked, I like to smoke when I was driving. A song would come on. I love to smoke after I ate. I look forward to the first cigarette of the day. There were certain traditions.
After a shower.
Yeah, all sorts of different things
that
I associated with that. So when I quit smoking, it was doing all those things was kind of messed up because I knew that I'd be missing that. The problem with vaping is it was just constant for you, right? You just do it whenever, however.
All day, every day.
So it wasn't like there were particular times. It was just always missing. That's tough.
Yes. Dude, that's a whole different level. I didn't even think about it psychologically, what it was doing to me because, you think about certain people when they smoke cigarettes and they quit, they need an oral fixation. Gum is a big one that helps. Some people like to hold pens in their hand,
right,
so that they have the the
something.
Something to keep that physical withdrawal away until you can at least get past those first couple of weeks. And because I smoked cigarettes for years too, and then I quit. Then I got back on the vapes it was going to be cool. I mean, because it's a nootropic and it obviously does do some good, but it's some good for sure. I think I don't know what it was doing for me exactly. I thought it made me feel confident sometimes, but that could have just been me telling myself that so I can keep going.
It was just the bottom is this. When I don't know about vaping, but I can tell you, when I quit smoking. My girlfriend at the time invited me on one of her work trips down to Argentina. Her work was going to Argentina. And she's going to take me down there. And she stopped me and she goes, nobody in my company smokes, so you can't smoke. I wanted to go to Argentina. I was like, this sounds awesome. This is nobody ever took me anywhere, much less out of the country. This is going to be radical.
Yeah.
So she goes, you got to quit smoke. You can't smoke. Well, it's a 7-day trip, 1 day travel. It's 8 days. I might as well. I mean, that's 8 days without a cigarette. I might as well quit. And I knew it would be miserable, so I went and I got hypnotized, and that's how I stopped smoking.
No shit.
I went and got a hypnotist, and I went in there, and it was in Baltimore, Maryland, and it was a typical Baltimore situation. Like it was in some woman's like living room, and like it was on her like recliner, lazy boy. And they put me down. I think somebody was watching Jeopardy in the background and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what? When it was all done, never had another cigarette.
So she
had
hit
not
that
had a
reset.
cigarette.
You like it's like they hit the reset button on you. Like they cracked the glass and pressed the red button, and then you were like rewired somehow.
I needed it. I needed the excuse. I think I basically hypnotized myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know whether she really hypnotized me as much as I wanted to think she did.
Yes.
And so I was on her team. I wasn't resisting the hypnotism. I was like, you've got to hypnotize because I was terrified about being 8 days without a cigarette.
It was necessary, and in a way, you were almost like, you needed it just as much as she did.
Yeah, I paid her. I wanted to. I didn't go there because I was like hoping it wouldn't work. I needed it to work.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was going to go. I wasn't going to smoke. And the thing about it is, the first couple of days sucked because I knew that, like, when you haven't had a cigarette in a while, and you smoke that first cigarette, it gives you that head rush, and I knew I'd be like, oh god, that's gonna feel good. And this was back in the day when you walked through the airport and they had like smoking, like more of the smoking lounges.
Yeah.
And you'd see them on there like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then we ended up going to Argentina, and they got like everything from like 14-year-olds up to 80-year-old women. They had a pregnant woman smoking with glass of Malbec in her hair, all eating steak. And everybody, and I'm like, oh man, but you know what? I got through it. I never had a cigarette since. Haven't had a cigarette since over 10 years.
And you're from Indianapolis, right?
I live in Indy.
Okay.
But I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
You're from Maryland originally.
Baltimore.
But they do smoke indoors in Indiana, right?
Some places they do. I think it's pretty much gone with the wind. I think there's a couple places there are a few choice places now that may maintain a grandfathered license. But I tell you, the time has come now where I don't think that's an appeal anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe there are certain private clubs that might be able to get
casinos.
I think casinos definitely. I think people smoke in casinos.
Yeah, I was in this place called New Albany, Indiana.
Okay.
And I did some gigs in Louisville, and I was staying, and I did a gig in New Albany. So I just stayed there in New Albany for the weekend, which is like kind of right across the river.
Yeah.
And I was like looking up all these reviews for like restaurants, trying to get coffee in the morning. And this one had 5 stars, and it was right by the river. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. I go in there, dude, fucking 50 people smoking. And I was like, oh, how did they get...
It must have been a private... I don't know
Yelp.
about that, but I haven't seen very much of it. I know that they're old school. A lot of places are old school as hell.
It was very old school. It was like that whole town stuck in 1984.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was the peak.
Stranger Things must have been filmed there.
That was the peak, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did not...
That was
they were
as
like,
good
this
as
is
it ever
good. We
got.
can stick with that. And that's a good era to stop it.
Yeah.
But the smoking... The thing is now... Well, I remember when smoking was banned in Baltimore, and they took it out of bars. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. And it sucked for a minute, but now I honestly believe, like, I wouldn't want to go to a bar where there was a bunch of smoking.
No way.
I wouldn't want to go.
There's no way.
And it's not because I think I'd be tempted. It would just be, oh.
I think if we were doing stand up, it could be fun because like that's like a nostalgic like kind of hat nod to back in the day.
It would be cool for me
It's
to
like
have
the
a cigarette on
atmosphere.
stage.
Yeah.
But I don't know about
like
everybody
Dave
smoking.
Chappelle.
It would bother the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I would be pissed if people were blowing smoke. I mean, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Yeah, but it does like kind of get in the lights and the atmosphere kind of becomes.
Yes.
I don't know. There was a time where it was before my time that I just see in movies or hear people talk about. So I think to me it's a little more romanticized for me.
You know, Jimmy used to be on Opie and Anthony.
Yeah, Jim Norton.
Jim Norton. He talked about he's the one that hit me to the fact, not personally. I heard him say this, right? It wasn't even calling me up and be like, Brad, here's
Yeah.
the
Oh,
but,
you don't make it sound that good.
No, he was actually talking about how he
told you.
He told me specifically about how when they shoot comedy specials, they have there's a machine called a hazer, and they release haze into the theater for when they're shooting it. They give like so there looks like the light is shooting through something, and it gives depth to have that haze,
Yes.
in there. So they actually put a hazer in there. It's like it's a kind of like a vape of some kind, So watch it if you're withdrawing.
Yeah.
But like there's like a haze, and it gives some sort of depth to the light and all that kind of stuff. And so because that helps. So I could see the smoke being like one thing, but the smell was pretty. I mean, like if you haven't smoked in a while, and then all of a sudden you walk into like a bar, especially if it's just like an old school dive bar and it's packed with smoke, it's enough to turn your stomach, man.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I know. I know. I've smelled a cigarette recently. Someone was smoking like 50 feet from me.
Right.
It was way down range, and I was like, oh, God, I don't fucking miss it. It's just gross.
No,
dude.
it's not good. And like especially it's weak, it's lame, and all the rest of it. I always say, it's one of the best things that ever happened is getting rid of those cigarettes. And now I guess they're like $7 a pack. Can't imagine.
Right.
Awful. And then so anyway, my wife did say a couple months later, I'm like, okay, but when I got married, I was like, okay, can I smoke a pipe? Because you don't inhale. I wouldn't inhale the
Bill
pipe.
Clinton over here.
Yeah, that's my own version of the Clinton, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got the pipe. And that's what I'm saying is it's a little different. I don't inhale. But like you talked about having that that fixation where something to do. I do enjoy that. But the idea with me is I'm smoking in the car. The ashes everywhere. It just gets it all smelled up. That smell would really turn my stomach, man. I think, and the vaping, I thought that was cool for stage because I thought, you ever see the movie Ford Fairlane?
No.
It's Andrew Dice Clay's was supposed to be his big vehicle, right? And it's about him being like a private eye or whatever. It was like 92, 93. He put it out. It was actually a good movie. But anyway, he had this whole thing where he had a gun on his wrist. And he had this thing where he could slip, and the gun pops out into your hand. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I might have seen this actually, just because it was I'm a comedy fan. I think I might have seen that.
It might have popped
in
on
my
somewhere.
earlier years. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you watch the Dark Side of Comedy, he did one. They might have mentioned it, but I was thinking a good stage effect because he used to have this thing with a lighter when he's on stage. When he would go up there, he'd do a punchline and he'd whip his Zippo open and dive it down. And so that was his kind of like, Chappelle has this thing where he bangs his microphone on his knee, kind of cueing the audience to laugh.
Right.
Well, Dice's thing was he pulled out his lighter, but and he would drop it down. And I thought a cool thing to do with a vape would be to have some sort of device attached to your wrist.
Yeah.
Where we're on stage, you could pull a dice man, and where like you hit a punchline, you'd be like, and then slam it back down. It'd be cheeseball as hell, but that's the point. It wouldn't be cool. It'd be like cheesy because you would exemplify that. I didn't know that it really had the psychological drag and addictive qualities that you were talking about now.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, and even the way you described it to me, I just didn't look at it as like, oh, I can always get away with this, so therefore when I'm withdrawing, every part of my day is a disaster because I don't have that in my life anymore. And it was, dude. It was such a rough couple of weeks. I decided I wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? I was like, I need to get this off my chest.
Oh, dude, let it out, man. Let it out.
I feel better now that it's like just me and weed again.
Don't become like one of these evangelists, man.
I
where you're
like marijuana. I'm
all of a sudden now you're gonna be like
a personality. I'm not saying that, but
you're gonna be like, you got to stop vaping now, bro. Everybody does it. Like, if you don't vape, you don't vape.
I know, right? It's like do what you do. And
yeah,
it's
good for you. You're glad. Anybody else who's struggling, do
better.
it.
Yeah,
quit.
Yeah, quit if you can. I mean, or if you're young, if you're fucking 20, like, dude, vape twice at once.
Dude, vape something for me.
Get two. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. And send me pictures of your girl.
Get out there. Brad, go ahead and give him your email. Well, dude, what's been up with you, man? What's been on?
Dude, it's been crazy. I had a lot of good stuff with stand-up that's happening. Last time I was on talking about the Roast War Championship. That's still going.
Yeah, dude. I got the chance to do that in Louisville the last time you were down there, and that was such a fun.
It was a good one, man. And like, it's still doing things down in Louisville. I actually I licensed a kid, Chris Corrado, #Corrado Shows, down in North and South Carolina to run it for me down there. And we do it, obviously, we pop up, but I've been focusing myself on the stand-up more and been rock and rolling with that, killing it, doing a lot of good stuff and moving up the time, getting tighter, getting all that stuff. But the reason I'm on today is because filmmakers in town, indie filmmakers in town, they've come on and they've said, hey, they film a show, a web series called #. I don't like it because that's all I can say. It's called hashtag, right?
That's it?
That's it. And it's the hashtag symbol. So it's really hard to look up. It's really bad, right? It is. I keep trying to explain to him. I'm like, this is very, I keep trying to tell people, this is season 2, hashtag season 2.
That's good though.
It is. It's hard to explain.
I think it's hard to find. Maybe hard to find if you're looking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so it's like, but besides that, it's cool. And got me the star of season 2, and it's been a blast. They're starting to release I think it's my 4th episode was released today. It's a Sunday. I released it. They released it today. There were 5 or 6 minute episodes. And it's really cool, and so like that's been exciting, going around and promoting that, talking about that, and I love the opportunity to really get and do like some acting and comedic acting and work with these local filmmakers who really give it their all and they make a fantastic show.
Yeah, I saw the first episode you sent to me, and I think you sent me one from last week also, and I thought they were really funny, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the quality of the film and the way that they're actually portraying the characters through film is amazing. The actors that they're picking are very funny. And yeah, dude, I think it could go somewhere. That's just like it only takes one. Like if you guys consistently do it, like it only takes 1 or 2 clips for people to circle back around and be like, oh, what is this thing that we're missing? Because the internet is so deep, right?
Yeah,
it's so rich with fucking content, dude.
It's over the top.
It's crazy.
The cool thing about this particular thing is that it's really kind of like they're saying something with it, which I appreciate. It's a mukbang. I didn't know about mukbangs before. Mukbangs is where apparently guys have their own. Basically, it's basically a webcast of people eating.
Yeah.
And so this guy, he wants to be a mukbanger. Right, and he gets on, and he wants to get an audience, and he's going to get paid. He's going to get all this audience, so he's willing to do whatever the audience. And the audience he has, it turns out to be these horrible people who are constantly, wanting to like manipulating him to become somebody he's totally not.
Yeah.
And he's just addicted to the idea of I just need views. And he gets in with, and he finds his crew. They call themselves the Noblemen. I guess they're supposed to represent some sort of fascist far right group who are like convincing him to all of a sudden take on all these kind of like militant populist settings, and then eventually he becomes like he engages in a thing that they call ethical cannibalism. And so that's the crescendo. Is eventually he runs across this other mukbanger who has a fetish where she desires to be eaten.
That's
literally
hilarious.
And so like he doesn't want this. So like the whole thing is Champ Cole is my and I have them belt and I'm like and I'm going through all these things where I just wanted to do a mukbang, right?
Yeah.
And it just brings you to this point where all of a sudden now you're just going through all these things that it's never enough. It's never enough, and you got to constantly keep giving more and more and losing yourself in doing it. And it's obviously funny because of the extremes it goes to, and to see how this character is twisted and turned and just made an ass of. But at the same time, it also says something about when you go searching for fame and you become a slave to your audience, you can't control who your audience is. They end up controlling you. And he takes him on this journey where he's like, basically starts out here, I just want to have a mukbang channel, to now all of a sudden he's eating this person and he's disgusted. He's disgusted by himself. He's disgusted about but he can't stop. Yeah. And he just keeps going and going. And I think that actually, if you see people with webcasts, you hold it together pretty good. You've seen people out there who aren't though.
Yeah.
Who just go all of a sudden and they're crazy.
There are times where I'm like, dude, what else do I need to be doing?
Exactly. To get your attention.
Yeah, dude. It's like these only go viral every now and then. It's like a lot of it is just, a few hundred, few thousand here and there. So it's like I'm resonating with this message so much because I'm constantly having that internal battle. Like, do you want to just fucking go naked on camera and run across the field? Like, that's the equivalent to, you know what I mean? It's like, do I want to fucking jump out of a plane and let it explode just for YouTube views? Absolutely not.
No, but
I have integrity, but I'm an entertainer.
That's what I'm saying. What have I got to do to win? I've got to win.
Where is the line?
Exactly. When you're up there in the moment and you keep going. And then before you know it, you get pulled into this thing where all of a sudden, and it happens on stage, it happens anywhere you're an entertainer, and the audience, you go up there and you start off in what you have your vision of what you want to do. and what you see yourself as. And then you get up there and you see how the audience reacts.
Yeah.
And you see and you see where the opportunities are. And all of a sudden you start crafting your jokes and crafting your act, crafting your look, all to what they expect from you. And obviously I'm portraying something that's it's way over the top, exaggerated, but it's ultimately at the heart of what everybody entertainer faces.
Yeah, I like that idea of just having a funny show where you're like constantly challenging the extremes of what like life could be.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like if you could do that in a comical way, I think a lot of people are going to resonate with it.
Yeah. And like I can tell you right now, it's a matter of people, like I always say this Britney Spears syndrome, right? Like how many people out there know about like the good works that many entertainers do? They raise money for these people that nobody knows because they're too busy watching Britney dance with knives.
Yeah.
That's what people want to see. They don't care about whether somebody go out there and feeds the poor. They want to talk about the time Paris Hilton got banged on camera. That's what they want to see. People want to see the car wreck. That's what they want. And so when you have a camera and you have a budget and you only have a short amount of time, it makes sense to kind of like say, okay, let's just do a car wreck.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like if The Rock and Oprah would have been dancing with knives, a lot more people would have donated to their fund rather than call them out for their bullshit.
Yes, that's true.
That's real shit, dude. You know, it's like learn from the best. It's Britney, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
No, I can tell you. The problem is everybody always concentrates on the negative. Like right now, this week, and this isn't funny. This is just the truth. Might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
There was, of course, a terrible attack in Israel.
Yeah, I was listening to that right before you came over, actually. I wanted to touch on that today for sure.
It's bad, man. Like, there was a music festival, and apparently a bunch of dudes came over from Palestine, and they went in, they attacked the music festival. They killed a whole bunch of people at the music festival. And that is all the news wants to talk about. And it's like nobody wants to mention the fact that other than that, supposedly it was a pretty decent rave.
Yeah, dude. No one's talking about. Dude, imagine how many people were like pretty like out of their mind.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Certain psychedelics and stuff because it's a little more free on that side of the border. Yeah. But I think that they were just a little bit too close to the action, man.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, imagine if it was your first rave. Those things aren't like those music festivals today. They're not cheap. They're not like everybody showed up in a hippie, man, and kicked down the fence. They cost a couple $100 to get in. Yeah. Imagine you're a kid. It's your first festival, and you're having a blast. You didn't even see that other shit go down.
Yeah,
and you're like, well,
what too?
And everybody says it's the worst thing that ever happened. You're like, what's the best time of my life other than,
Yeah.
You know?
Anybody that survived is going to be like, oh, yeah.
Dude, I would have gone again.
That was mega.
That was awesome, dude.
Sick. Super sick, dude. No, I was, I don't know, man. It was such a strategic attack, too.
It's disgusting.
The way that they blew up the border in several different places. They came in by land, sea, and air, dude.
Yeah, there's glider things.
Yeah, they came in by land. They also sent in drones that were attacking their anti-aircraft missile, whatever, on the bases where they shoot down the planes. And there's also this dome over Israel.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yeah. They have the dome to shoot down all the missiles that come at them.
So apparently they damaged whatever makes that work too. So
they hacked in or something?
I don't know if they were just like.
We don't know the technical details.
Know,
we have no idea.
I was just watching a
This
video.
is not where you're going to get.
No.
The bottom line of what really happened.
They did knock down all the cell towers within minutes of them breaking through the. Yeah, so they cut all their comms were down. On top of them killing innocent people, it was basically a murder squad, dude.
It was a kill squad, and like it's disgusting. Here's the one thing that bothers me the most about this. First of all, I hate what happened. I hate it. Absolutely. I think it's disgusting. I also think and I'm not a religious scholar or a scholar of any sort, but having read bits of the Bible, I am aware that these two groups of people have been scrapping for a couple millennia.
Yeah.
And so like I just feel like it's kind of crazy when I see all the crazy stuff happening around me, that these things happen, and all of a sudden we've got to turn our attention away from the stuff that's happening close to us and look over to problems that have been happening for a long, long time. I don't know what we could do about it other than be sorry, and and feel for them, and I do both those things. I feel for them, but like I don't know what else I can do about it, and I think that our main focus should be on the problems we have. more so than saying to myself, how, like all of a sudden now I've got, like, what am I going to bring peace in the Middle East? I don't know whether my president, honestly, God, I wouldn't trust a guy to get me a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, and that's not an exaggeration. I would be worried he could do that, right? I'm shocked every time I see he's able to put his pants on. I can't think of a single political leader, in case anybody thinks I'm like stumping for somebody. I don't think of a single political leader in my mind that I would trust to handle any of it. And to me, that's the biggest problem facing us, not the fact that people have been fighting each other for a couple thousand years, keep fighting each other.
Dude, you know what's scary? You mentioned the Bible, and in the Bible, in Revelation, which everybody keeps talking about doomsday, it's on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Always.
Revelation talks about the Middle East signing a peace treaty and the Antichrist and like the New World Order, essentially. Yeah. Dude, it talks about it, and then that's the kind of things that make me question, like, is there a God, or is there a grand designer of all this? And I don't know, man. There's just so many questions, and there's too much information. It's hard to make an informed decision these days.
It is.
About anything, whether it's religion or where we go when we die, or
no, it's too much to take in. That's what I was saying. You got to think local. You got to look around. There's people suffering. Bad news. People are suffering a lot, probably within a mile of everybody who's watching this. There's people that they go by every day who are suffering a lot. And if you really are upset about some of the awful things you see happening on the other side of the world, you want to do something. The best way to do is probably go and find somebody local to do something about. But nobody's going to do that because it's easier to just feel sorry for what they see on television.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I just say to hell with it. What you ought to do is you ought to get on Patreon and you got to sign up for a podcast.
That's right.
You want world peace, it starts where you're looking at the way it starts. If you want
world peace, you subscribe to the Morning Woods podcast. It's Johnny Woods Comedy, patreon.com. We're going to take a quick break. We got about 2 minutes. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back. All right. We'll be right back. You're killing it, though. I mean, are you doing? And we're back, everybody. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining me, Brad.
Happy to still be here, baby.
If you don't know, Mr. Brad Rigler, actor, comedian extraordinaire, announcer, creator, producer of shows.
That's right.
We've had some stuff together in the past. I know a long time ago when I first got in this business, maybe 4 or 5 years back, maybe almost closer to 6 now. I remember you hosted an open mic at the Jokers in Indianapolis.
Yes.
When I popped in through there, it was my first time being in Indy, and I think I don't know that I probably didn't do very good at all, but I just remember seeing you and seeing how good you were and like your professionalism as a host.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, I admired that.
Yeah.
And then I got to work with you at Roast Battle Louisville last year. So so we haven't had a conversation this long though, so it's fun to get to know you and talk more about just kind of who you are as a person and stuff like that. So you lived in Baltimore. Did you start your stand-up career in Baltimore?
No, I was an actor, and I actually moved when I grew up in Baltimore, and then I went to New York to be an actor. I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy up in Manhattan.
Oh, like Tupac.
Yeah, dude, I was in New York when Tupac got shot the first time when he became one Pac.
Yeah,
I was there when he became one Pac, dog.
Yeah.
It was a wild time, and so like I was there for that.
Were a lot of art students getting shot?
I don't know, man. I remember I didn't get shot, but I remember it being a big deal because he was coming out of a recording studio, and somebody popped him, and he actually shot one of his testicles off.
Oh wow, I did not know.
Yeah, he's one Pac, right?
That's great. That's a great detail to add to my little repertoire of knowledge. If this ever comes up again in conversation, I'll be like, do you guys know he got one of his nuts shut off?
Yep, that's one Pac, baby. That was the thing. He got shot. And everybody assumed that was the beef. They assumed because Little C's was passing him by. He was part of Biggie's crew. And they all thought it was something with that. The little bad boy was shooting up. And that's really what kicked it off. That's what not kicked it off, but that's what really turned West Coast, East Coast beef into a hot war. And it actually happened in '94 in Manhattan.
Yeah. Did you see they recently caught
the guy? They say they busted the guy who was a trigger man.
Yeah. Was that for Pac or for Biggie? For Tupac's death?
I think it was. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either, but it was somebody in connection with the.
Gosh, which one? I feel like a douche now. I don't even know. I don't remember who it was they got.
It's hard to say because even when I watched the movie, it was hard for me to figure out where and when they died because I think one of them were in Las Vegas. Biggie was in Las Vegas, or
I think no, it
Was in
was
LA?
Pac was in Vegas after a Mike Tyson fight. I believe it was
Gotcha.
after Tyson versus Bruce Seldon, and they boxed and they came back and there was actually a fight in the lobby.
Yes, I remember seeing the surveillance footage.
And then Suge Knight took Pac out to the car, and they were driving down Las Vegas Boulevard, and like supposedly a shooter team came up and just peppered the side of their car and wasted him, and that was how he went out. And then somebody shot Biggie when Biggie went to L.A. Biggie set foot in L.A.
Yeah,
and they thought that was a little bit. And I think that was how that's how that all kind of blew out.
Man.
But I mean, I wasn't involved, and obviously, clear. You can take a look at me. Nobody was like, "Dude, what happened?"
Well, I just know
he's like, obviously, I was not plugged in, but I was there in Manhattan at that time, and then I went out to L.A. for a minute. I was all acting at that point in time. And then I came back to Baltimore and kind of did my whole thing. And it wasn't until I moved out here that I just all of a sudden wanted to get back into being a performer. Because I've been a reporter, I've been a politician, I've been an actor, I've done all those things. The only thing that scared the shit out of me, was stand-up. That was terrifying to me. And so it was like, and when I got here, I was like, I remember I was downtown, walked out of a diner right when we first hit town, and I looked up and I saw there was a sign on the wall that said Crackers Comedy Club. I go, if there is a club called Crackers, dude, I've got to do it. That's where you're going to find me.
Right.
And I said, boom, I went and did the open mic, and I just started going back every week, banging out, just going at it. And I mean, you know how it is, like just absolute shit, just eating shit. The only reason I stuck with it is because I've been an actor and I've been those things, and I understood the learning process. I understood. I wasn't one of these people who thought like, oh, you just get up there and all of a sudden you're famous. Or, I knew that it was to learn to even be watchable. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of, you got to go through it. It's not getting handed out. And maybe some people go and blow up quicker than others. And those people are usually in LA or in New York because they can be found. Yeah. They're also dealing with like a larger pool of like high talent people that can rub off on them.
It's also the tortoise and the hare situation where sometimes someone will like get this trajectory and then they'll kind of and then you'll catch up with them.
Yeah.
And,
but it's all about work. If you are going up there and banging through it and determination. So I got to tell you, people are going to determine is the idea of I've gone through stretches of months of not getting any laughs. Not recently. I want to be clear, anybody who wants to go see my stuff now, everybody's laughing all the time.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I would go through months of eating shit and dicks oh God, it was almost soul burning. And it's just like, but you know what? You just keep going. You learn from it. You learn enough to get better, not enough that you should quit, right? So you forget that lesson and you watch the other lesson and you just kept on going. And so I just kept with it. I had my vision for the Roast War Championship, and that took me around a lot. I met a lot of comics, and then I started just going up there. I started becoming a regular at Crackers, and just I got up to the finals of Helium's Funniest of Indie. And I've just gone all around. But February, I headlined a benefit show in a place here in Ohio called East Palestine.
Oh, yeah.
They had a terrible train derailment in East Palestine, and I did a big fundraiser show out there. It was awesome. And, I started doing that. I'm going around and doing, like you said, quality stage time and still getting opportunity to do these web series like #season 2 and, just doing cool stuff like this podcast.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. It sounds like you're really like living the dream, dude. No pun intended. I mean, that's kind of where we all want to be. Like, you want to have stuff on your calendar.
Yes.
You want to be working on multiple projects and, constantly just trying to be better every time you're on stage. Like, those are the people that I respect in this business, because some people, like, they just don't, like, either take it serious enough, which I know that sounds like stupid. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. You take seriously being an asshole. I know what you mean. I get it.
Sounds weird, but like,
you got to take it seriously.
Yeah, dude. There's just like certain rules you have to respect and like kind of adhere to. Like the people that came before you, you have to pay homage to them. I think.
Yeah.
Like don't wear shorts on stage.
No.
Like don't.
I can't stand. Don't sit down and don't wear shorts.
Move the mic stand. Yeah. Yes. Don't sit down. You're not Dave Chappelle.
Right.
Don't. there's just a lot of like technicalities that I like to respect and
Pay
live
your
up to.
dues.
Yeah, I want to pay my dues and
Go to
and-
work.
Exactly, dude. That's at the end of the day. So I can see that you're really doing that, dude. So I think that's awesome.
See, that's the thing. Paying the dues is what it's all about. Like, you've got to make your own stuff happen. So everything I've done, I've always aggressively gone out. If nothing's happening, and I want to make it sound like, for me, I'm a performer, and I got to perform. If there's nothing happening, I'm not happy. I don't feel good. Right? Like, if I would feel like Saturday night, Friday night, whatever, if I've got to go, the reason I get my hair cut is because I know I'm going to be on stage or I'm going to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
Not that I got my hair cut for this, but the reason why I do these things. So you know what I'm saying? The reason why I buy outfits, the reason why I care, the reason why exactly, you know what I mean? This is the reason why I take care of myself.
Yeah.
It's not for me. And it's like, but everything on motivation. What am I doing? Am I cool? Am I having fun? Yeah, I'm having fun. It's because I'm being booked on a show Friday night.
Exactly.
And that's what makes, and so that's what that's what I need in order to be happy and see myself. That's who I see myself as. So, and to get that, the truth of the matter is, maybe there's sometimes you catch a vein, you catch a wave where things are happening, they're throwing stuff at you. But you got to know that you got to keep looking and stretching and find and never forget that the only person who's going to keep that going forever is you.
Yes. I heard this quote from John Mayer, and it really stuck with me. And he said that one day he just decided that he was going to give himself the job as a singer
Yeah.
and a songwriter. And so I just thought that I should do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that's how I live my life now. Like,
Exactly.
I gave myself the job, and now I have to live up to these certain standards in order to feel like I'm giving it my respect, and I'm getting the respect from. I know some people don't care about their peers, but that is important because certain people are going to stay in this business for a long time, and those are the people you'll still be working with in 5 or 10 years. So you want to earn your. I don't know how to say it. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention to what the hell's happening around you.
Yeah. You want to know what other people are doing, and
Yeah.
they want to know what you're doing, and that's important to kind of have that mutual.
If you're just
respect.
goofing, you're just goofing. So if
Yes.
your whole thing is, I don't care, and a lot of times what people do is they imitate what they see the character of their favorite performer being on stage. And they don't understand behind that person is a business. Guy right behind you there, Richard Pryor up on the wall. Richard Pryor had writers who rolled with him, who came with him and constantly watching him, constantly doing this. And he thought, there was work that constantly put in, constantly travel. He might just seem like he's up there goofing, like, oh, this kid. These guys were serious about what they did. Andrew Dice Clay, we talked about that earlier. This guy, he crafted that image from day one and went through 4 different characters he was doing on stage. So it whittled it down to the one that people wanted to see. All these people were out there busting their ass. Dave Chappelle, this guy goes off 5 hours doing these sorts of things. He built his own club. He's doing these things. These aren't just dudes that are just sitting on their couch blowing smoke rings. And then like Joe Rogan, oh yeah, he just likes to get high and chill. Dude, that guy built his own studio.
Yeah.
He has his own thing. He has a whole network. This is stuff that's been crafted, invested in, and taken seriously to then act like you're not taking it seriously. So you're not imitating that guy. You're
Right.
imitating the character that he's putting back and putting forward if you don't care, if you say you don't care. Or ultimately it's probably because you don't really believe in yourself.
Right.
And so you don't want to give anybody the impression that you're going to fail if you don't ever have a goal.
Yeah, man, and that's why I kind of have to distance myself from sometimes the local scene. If I don't really have anything new to work on, then I'm just gonna be doing the shows that I'm booked on.
Right on.
It's because that energy is kind of in the air for the first couple years, and no one's really certain, and they're not really sure if this is. And no, we never really are, even when we have a new idea. And when you're young in this business, it's all new ideas.
Yeah.
So I see why it happens, but I don't know. At a certain level, you get to be more selective, and you can kind of remove yourself from certain that kind of.
Mics are the worst. Okay, first of all, mics are the worst,
mics.
and comics are the worst because they're the worst audience.
Yeah.
What do comics have in common? They don't laugh. They don't buy tickets to shows. You go up in front of a group of comedians, and they don't say like they're so funny that they don't laugh. No, the bottom line is they're all thinking about what they just said or what they're gonna say. They're not even paying attention to you.
Yeah.
You're just eating time up before they're gonna get up there and do their thing. So there's nothing. You could have a killer. What happens in an open mic has it does not translate at all to what happens in a real show.
Like zero, dude. Like zero. Unless they're an audience at the open mic.
If there's an audience at open mic, and
Yes.
still, that's what you got to find. You got to find a decent audience.
Yes.
Luckily, I would do Crackers open mic. It's on Thursday at Crackers, and they have a guy Jerry Goebel, and I run it, and they have we have a live audience that comes in, and they're people, they're human beings with souls,
Yeah.
and that's where I work new material because you got to sometimes work new material because it can take. There are jokes I'm doing now that I wrote 4 years ago that are just starting to hit right now.
Yep.
And so, like, you have to do, and maybe that's my style, or maybe it was the joke. Not all of them are like that, but some of them you've got to work it and get comfortable with it. And I can tell the difference between a joke that'll hit, and then sometimes when I'm getting up and I'm doing a joke that I've done like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, I believe in this joke, but it's never gonna laugh. I just toss it out there, and I'm just relaxed, and it hits, and I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, oh, I knew there was something to it. I can't duplicate it initially.
Yeah.
I can't immediately go back out and make that hit every time that same way. But over time, I know it can be hit, and it's about it being comfortable and relaxed. And when I'm comfortable and relaxed, and then I can start getting goofy with it, I can hit the timing and all those sorts of things. I know about the placement of the joke.
The placement also.
Bang, it
Within
can crack.
your set, it's like, because you have these chunks of certain material, and like, if this joke does not necessarily, even though it's new and you kind of want to get it off fast, I have that issue. Like, it's like, I want to say this in the first 5 minutes because I want to get that pop and feel like that newness. And also, if it doesn't hit, it's out of the way and I can go back to the tried and true. So it's like, there's like that fine balance of knowing the placement is big for me because I'm like a craftsman with it. Like, I've taken like so much time to make sure that like certain parts of my story that I'm telling you must be said first in order to make this more relevant and funny and cohesive later down the like 15 or 20 minutes from now. And then it all is funnier where if I start with that, even though it's great, it's not as great without my backstory.
Yeah.
You know, so there's just like
They got to know you to find you funny.
So much that goes into it.
They've got to know who you are. Every time you get on stage, everybody's thinking the exact same thing. They're like, who is this asshole?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't suck.
It's another one.
And that is every audience, except whether they're polite about it, whether they hide it or not, everybody figures this guy's going to suck.
Yeah.
And so, like, you get up there, so they're all thinking, they're all in this sort of thing. So it's better, I've found, and I've heard, like, veteran comics, I remember even, I think Seinfeld maybe even said one time, they never start with the new stuff. Because you got to get them on your side. You got to hit them when you walk up on stage. You give them what they, just prove yourself. I'm funny. All right, shut up and listen.
Yeah.
And then once they got them, then you can go your new stuff and you can find out what it's all about. Because if you start with your new stuff and it goes the opposite way, the first impression's hard to shake off in 20, 30 minutes. So if they don't think you're funny from the jump, it's very rare they're going to find you. You're never going to find you as funny later on as they would if they thought you were funny from the jump.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you need a closer to open with.
Yeah, you need to know the thing. You need a bit.
You need some sort of bit that's like it's not too personal to where they won't understand. It's like broad enough to where everybody will know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Even I do self-deprecating stuff.
Me too.
Or I do crowd work when I first go up. Like I'll either talk about someone that I see or me, and then most of the stuff I say about me is like the same 5 jokes every time, obviously, because I know what I look like. And I've gotten it down to a science. But like I do also like to mess with the crowd, especially more recently. I've been getting really more comfortable, like because I learned the art of crowd work is basically just an improv game.
Yes.
Where you just ask the question, and then or you make an observation, either one of the two, and then with the information that you have that's true, you just add something that's not true, and somehow that becomes the punchline.
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
Like, people are like, "Whoa, I didn't see that coming." It's like, neither did I.
My friend, shout out Shayna Rabini, explained that to me when we were hanging out at Go Bananas, and I was like, "So it's just a game? It's just?" And I was like, because I kind of professed to her like, I really want to start doing crowd work because I think that would help me get more clips out and like this and that, and she was like, "It's easier than you think. It's like if you just." It's basically an old improv game. And I was like, it hit me, and I was like, "Fuck, I can do that."
And it's really about being relaxed.
Yeah.
If
that
you're the
too.
one who's relaxed and you're not uptight, that's the big thing. They see people look for cues. They don't even know what. Most times people don't even know what's funny. Most times they're drunk or really dumb to begin with. And if they're figuring, if everybody else is laughing, I'm laughing. If you're cool, if you're calm, if you're collective, I guess you're funny, and it's all good.
It's like the Dice Clay thing.
Yes,
It's
I'm
like
in.
there's mannerisms and
Yeah.
certain ways to say this, a certain cadence that I'll or you or whoever will kind of portray in the moment will determine the laugh. Yeah, it's not necessarily what you're saying.
And like, look at Chappelle. Chappelle be like this when he really wants to let people know the joke is over. He'll take it and boom. He'll bump his microphone and it'll be like doomp, and everybody's like, okay, now we laugh. This is the good. And it's a cue. You have to tell them when they want to laugh. And so once you tell them, okay, trust me, I'm going to get you going. I'm going to get you rolling, and getting that. And so that's why I always start off. The problem I have to overcome was I came up as the host of Crackers in Indianapolis. And I went on there as a host. I went very hard with that. And I knew the local humor. So I started doing a lot of good local stuff. So my strongest stuff in Indy, I can kill. I can kill that open. I have 20 minutes of indie stuff that kills for Hoosiers because I know it. But now whether that travels, some of it gets whittled away the farther you go out. I can make some of it Midwest. I can carry it out to Midwest. I don't need to do all the specific indie stuff. Like I can't talk about the roads at Indy in Detroit. Everybody be like, that's right, they suck. But I can talk about, or down in Louisville, I can start talking about Menards. I can do these sorts of things. I can talk about these different, how people outside, maybe not in Louisville exactly, but people in the greater Kentucky area are generally nice.
Yeah.
And
there is a range.
Yeah, there are.
That you can kind of,
There are that Midwest. So there's certain things, and the farther you go out, the more those jokes spill away. And so, like, the more comfortable I am being at home, the less the less travel, the less my jokes travel. And so I've got to be, you got to be able to. And then you get too comfortable with something, it kills too easy. Yeah. You don't try the new stuff. The second you get up there, you're like, I got a crowd here. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to work, bang, bang. And you find yourself 30 minutes later and realize I didn't grow at all.
Well, that's what I'm scared of, too, is like I don't take myself completely out of the local scene, like with mics and stuff, because I have to be able to still show up and like get a spot. And then, you know what I mean? Like I have to, if you're not at least a little bit fresh or you're not a couple times a month going up and trying some new shit.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, go up 5 times a week, but after...
Well, it's a lot. You have kids, especially like that's a thing. I know you did.
Yeah,
I did, but I got
kids.
kids.
A career. I do this show. It's like
it's
so
I can't go out. It's not doing me any good to sit an hour in a bar somewhere to be able to talk to 8 comics that don't want to hear my shit anymore.
Yeah, I've been basically just trying new shit at shows.
Yeah,
like I'll throw it in somewhere, and I'm like, this might work with my relationship stuff.
Yeah.
Or this new joke about my kids. I'll try to fit it in somewhere. And a lot of times, I like that you were saying the stuff about the local stuff in Indy, too, because that resonated with me. I was in Atlanta doing a show like a month ago, a few weeks now, something like that. And I had a joke that used to be about Dayton, but when I was down there, I was like, oh, this is about Ohio. So basically, I just compared it to Atlanta and said, in this department, Ohio kind of has you guys beat. And so for whatever reason, it worked. But then when I brought it back, I did a show in Columbus a few weeks after that. And then I said Ohio again, like for the same joke. And I was like, I've been all over, but Ohio has the best this thing. And it kept working. So I was like, oh, maybe I can use even back home. I'll just say Ohio, make it more broad. And I feel like more people can understand you. And it's cool that you're recognizing that there's like this kind of science to writing jokes, but there's also a way that you're able to kind of manipulate the joke and have your improv skills come into play when you're on the road.
Right, modify the joke.
People. Yeah.
Yeah, because what you think is funny, local humor always kills. It's like a topical humor. If you talk about something, people will give you a lot of leeway. If you're making a joke about something that right around them they feel like was written for them, they're gonna like it. If you make a joke about something that happened in the news yesterday, they're gonna give you leeway. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just happened. That's funny. Your joke, just like crowd work. Oh, he's just talking shit about this dude right here. They're gonna give you leeway. It doesn't have to be a killer joke. It's still funny because it just happened there and they feel it's real. But if it's a written joke and all this sorts of thing, nobody wants to hear about what this, how everybody is in Baltimore if they are in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. And vice versa. There's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. You guys know how we like crab cakes. They're like, oh, no, we know now. But cool. I don't know.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, dude, it's hard to find that balance too. I bet. I was lucky enough to have just like a little bit of the local material, where a lot of stuff I just talk about like my childhood and then like my kids and how they have it so much better than me because they fucking do.
Yeah.
But that's like fucking 15, 20 minutes of my stuff. It's just,
By the way, this place is incredibly like Leave It to Beaver. When I walk up, we got kids' bikes out there.
Yeah.
There's like it's
On the
like
porch,
it's like welcome to fall and shit out there. I'm like, am I in the right place?
Yeah.
Is this a Johnny Wood? Is this a Morning Wood?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I do got a nice place. I appreciate
You
that.
do. It's great. I mean, it's fantastic. Like you're the first time I've walked into a comic who has kids where I don't immediately feel sorry for the kids.
Yeah, that's sweet, dude. Well, I have a great partner too. She's like we're stay-at-home mom, and she works from home, but she also homeschools our kids.
That's awesome.
Which,
Really?
Yeah, I was doing it for a while. Until I just recently started working again. She was the breadwinner for a while, and I was like doing homeschool with my kids here every day, all three of them. It's insane, dude. You have to be like their gym teacher and their math teacher and like 9 different things.
I don't know.
She's so much better than I am.
Yeah, I think that there are certain things that are made. I could not see I did that a little bit during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it did not go. So dude, by the time the first week was done, so were my kids' chances of ever making it in the Ivy League. It was done.
Yeah.
You know, if we kept another
travel
semester,
too
my kids will
much,
be
dude.
waitlisted for University of Phoenix.
Yeah.
And you only need like a credit card for that.
That's
so
what I'm saying. I have 3 of them. I'm like, if one of them makes it to college, we're good, right?
that's what I'm saying, dude. Then you call me.
Yeah, exactly.
Send them to a trade school. That's where you're guaranteed if they can do something other than like talk about like college. Basically nowadays just tells you, you know, I don't know what people learn, if anything. There, I think the bottom line is if somebody knows a skill, they're gonna eat.
Yeah.
They're also gonna be able to get the best pills.
I think no doubt about that. I think my goal for them is to have them do something in technology because like maybe like my girls make YouTube videos and my son loves video games and watching.
My kids want to be YouTubers. They love that, man.
It's like, why not, dude? Because you never know who out of the couple million kids that are going to do it the next generation is going to blow up. So whoever, and I do the production stuff already. So
yeah, that's here.
Yeah, it's already here. It's like, why not just do this?
Would you be burned? And this is something you have to actually think about. That would you be burned if all your work you go in here and then like your daughter comes out here with like some dolls or some shit and it's like blows it, gets 1 million views? Would you just be like,
literally already happened? Literally already happened. She did it in one day. It wasn't 1 million. She got like 100,000 views on a video that she made of a cartoon that it's actually a video game that she made into a like cartoon. It's like, you know how like old school South Park, it was like paper and they would move them themselves. So that's what kids are doing. They'll take like their favorite little video game characters and they'll move around the avatars and then do voiceovers and shit. She made an amazing one, directed it, and it was like it blew up.
She did 100 grand. You're like, you got all this stuff here. And you're like, you just got 100 grand.
Yeah.
With construction paper.
Literally. And I was like, I couldn't believe it, but I was like, keep going, baby.
Keep going, baby. Daddy needs a pair of shoes.
Yeah, exactly. There is a bit of me. This would be a good topic. Let's see how much time we have. See if we can get into this. This would be a good. We have like 4 minutes, but dude, it's almost like those people who put their kids in like toddlers and tiaras, or the people who like spend a ton of money letting their kids unbox all that shit that they're probably sending back.
Right.
There's like a certain medium. Like I don't want to whore them out.
No. Yeah, you don't want to become like a stage dad or live through their experience. Like this is what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like
that's
Papa
lame.
Joe, and I beat them and make them never want to play with toys again.
Exactly. Like they want to. Yeah, dude. Those are the religious nuts. You're talking about those kids that live it on like a commune somewhere. You don't want that.
I do not want that. There's a happy medium where they can do what they want and still hopefully monetize it in some way. And if not, they can get a part-time job like every other friend that I have who's in entertainment.
That's what I'm saying. Who was the kid? There was a kid that's been like 6 years old for the last 10 years. And he has like a deal with Target, the unbox stuff and all that kind of stuff. My kids used to watch him all the time.
I know his name.
Yeah, everybody, the guy was like, he's like, boom, this guy was 6 years old for easily a decade. I guarantee you they had him on puberty blockers.
Was it Ryan?
Ryan's Toy Review. Dude, that kid is, talk about the next kid to go down the drain.
Yeah.
He is good because they have been keeping on. He's been excited about ball pits for literally before my children were born.
Yeah, dude. It's like, get it together, Ryan.
It's like, come on, Ryan. He probably doesn't. But he's probably like, he wants to get into like, he probably wants to do everything else besides that. Because my kids went through that phase.
Yeah.
It was 18 months. This kid's been doing it for 7 years.
Dude, do you know Andy Milonakis was like 34 when he got his TV show?
Yeah, he looked that
Everybody
way
thought
though,
he was
right?
14. Everybody thought he was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then he's like 50 now.
He's an old dude. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, but he looks like a fucking child.
He's
That's
still,
crazy.
yeah, I know.
He looks like a lesbian.
He does.
Like, he does, dude. He looks like, yeah.
You got to be funny to keep the last name Milanakis, and like and we still remember it.
Right, yeah.
So you've got to be pretty funny.
Low key, dude. I think I just saw someone on Instagram or something. I was scrolling. Somebody found like his old DVD at a gas station, and they were like $4. I had to get it, and I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would have bought it too. I don't even have a DVD player, but low key, that show was fun as hell.
That was awesome.
Yeah, when he, I remember, it's the kind of the shit that people are doing now, like all these like weird pranks and stuff that are going.
That's what I'm
viral.
saying.
He was like way ahead of his time.
The pranks and all those things that, you know, if you can do that stuff and not get shot,
Yeah.
then I say go ahead and do a prank.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can't see. Usually I can always see. I wouldn't even know. I saw you in here. I was like, I'm not walking in to an Ohio house uninvited because I, you know what I mean? And I know you, and I know I'll be fine, but still, it's just, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you could do pranks and not get hurt, go ahead. Like, what about the jumping in? My favorite was the one at the, what are these outdoor stores that have the fish? Remember, they have like a pond in the middle of them.
Oh yeah, like the Cabela's.
The Cabela's. There was a Cabela pond hopping. You remember that one?
No, I
There
never
was a
saw
trend where you'd run in and you would go and like cannonball into that and then roll out. I thought that would be cool because
That's funny.
there's not one time I've walked by one of those things I wasn't like, dude, I should jump in that.
I got a new
bitch.
prank that I'll tell you
What?
after because I don't want to blow it, but because I'm gonna do it. But it's basically like I'm a bad magician. And I just do terrible magic.
Yes, it's not good.
It's not
you want to
good?
know how I did it? They're like, I saw it.
They don't care. They would rather me leave.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's the whole thing. All right, we got 30 seconds. You guys make sure you go watch #season 2.
Yes.
With is it written by you?
And no, it's not. I'm just at Indie Films,
At Indie
INDY Films, on Facebook, on YouTube. I'm Brad Rigler, at Brad Rigler, RIGLER, or at Roast War Champ on all social media.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. Have a beautiful day. Peace out.